money, because even in time value of money we have talked about discounting the future cash flows to the present value, finding out the future values, finding out the present values, so using an appropriate discount rates. So now what we will do is we will get into understanding of the real world applications, because as financial analysts we keep looking at the usage of time value of money day in and day out for all kinds of decisions, right? Time value of money plays a very key role in many financial aspects, whether we are evaluating equities, or you are evaluating fixed income securities, or we are working with derivatives. Almost every aspect of finance, or we are doing any kind of portfolio management, almost every aspect of finance typically involves some form of the time value of money application itself. Because in short, whenever we are dealing with finance, it's as good as we are investing something today and we are going to get some cash flows in future. And these cash flows, the timings are different at different points in time, and the amounts could be different. So what we are typically seeing is, whatever I need to invest today, is it really a good investment or not? Or if I am investing something today and I am getting something like this, what is the kind of return that I am getting during this entire process? All these are typical applications of time value of money itself. So that's where, to start with, as a part of the agenda of this particular session, I'm looking at three major dimensions. One, discussing two important tools which use time value of money heavily, which are used in so many decisions. One is NPV, which is the net present value, as a decision taking kind of a tool, as well as the IRR, the internal rate of return. So this is one kind of tools, one set of tools which are typically used for a lot of investment decisions. So we will try to which use in fact the discounted cash flow or time value of money as a concept itself. Then we'll try to see the applications relating to portfolio returns, portfolio return measurement, which again uses the concept of the discounted cash flows or time value of money. And I would also like to look at another concept relating to the yields on the money markets. So three major dimensions I would like to cover as a part of this session. So initially I'll start off with the net present value. So just to get started on that, majority of the investment decisions in finance require the good understanding of NPV as well as IRR, very commonly used buzzwords as a part of various areas of finance. So right from corporate finance, which is to do with so much of internal decision making processes, as well as the security analysis also, which is more to do with investment decisions in equities, bonds, etc. So both the corporate side of finance as well as the security analysis side of finance, they heavily use the concepts of NPV and IRR. So here if I look at major sections, one is capital budgeting, which typically talks about allocation of funds, or probably investing in long-term projects. What kind of projects to choose? which ones to accept, which ones to reject. Decisions relating to long-term projects and the investment in those long-term projects go with capital budgeting. Then we look at capital structure. Even there I look at the NPV and IRR, wherein I am again looking at how much for meeting these investment requirements, how much capital to raise and in what form. Should it be raised in the form of debt? Should it be raised in the form of equity? If it is raised in the form of a debt, what is the cost? If it is raised in the form of equity, what is the cost associated? So that's one decision that requires the evaluation from this dimension. And we are also looking at a place of working capital management, where we are talking about managing the short-term assets and liabilities of the firm. So all these things, some of the key aspects as a part of the functioning of a firm, they are all handled through the understanding of these concepts of net present value and IRR, going as a part of corporate finance decisions, which use the concepts of discounted cash flows to a large extent. So first of all, what is this net present value and what is this internal rate of return? So one of the first point I can talk of, both of them are, these are the methods which are generally accepted heavily in the industry for valuing the investments and choosing which one is better. If there are many alternatives with respect to investment, choose among the different kinds of alternatives. So while NPV is one method, the IRR is the other important method. So we can very well get into finding the value of an investment, and if there are multiple such kind of alternatives that are available, I can very well choose the best among them. And when I talk about NPV, the way it works out is, it looks at finding the present value of all cash inflows minus the present value of all cash outflows. So that is what is coming out as the NPV of the assignment. So the net is because inflows are treated with a positive sign, the outflows are treated with a negative sign. So whatever is the net that is coming out, so NPV could be either positive or negative. So whenever we are looking at how do I compute, my first step is identify all the cash flows. Okay, so let me take a simple example. I will look at different time periods. Right, let me think of time periods. So time period T, let me say right now, 1 year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years, 4 years. Let's say I am choosing between two investment projects. I am choosing between two projects. A project A, which requires $100 million investment, but let's say it's going to give a cash flow of $10 after 10 million after 1 year, 70 million after 2 years, or probably 80 million after 2 years, 60 million after 3 years. Let me take it as a 3-year project. Now on the other side, I have a project B. Even in that I am investing, I have to invest 100 million. Let's say it's going to give me 70 million in the first year itself, 50 in the second and 20 in the third. So if I am simply looking at, I have invested 100, I have got 150 million in this project. I would be getting 150 million in this project. These are the future projected cash inflows. This is a cash outflow. Even here cash outflow is 100 million, but I am going to get 140 million in this particular project, right? Now I have identified all the cash flows associated with the project. So the first step in finding out the NPV is identify or probably estimate what are the future cash flows that are going to come up from that particular project. So using experience or using any other mechanism, estimate the various cash flows that can come. If at all any other intermediate outflows are there, just even identify them. And after that, identify an appropriate discounting rate. Discount rate is nothing but the rate at which you are discounting the future cash flows. Probably the better one to use is the opportunity cost. In this case, I am investing 100 million in this project, means I have lost the opportunity to deposit it probably in a risk-free investment and get a return of some risk-free rate of return. I could have deposited the same 100 million in a bank and I could have got a rate of return of R. But I am losing out that much of R because I am investing in this particular project. So that R, which is that interest rate which I am losing, is what is the opportunity cost which I would be taking as a discounted rate in this particular case. So just for understanding, let me take in this case the discount rate. Let me take it as 10%, right? For this example, let me take the discount rate as 10%. Now find the present value of each of the cash flows. Using that discount rate, find the present values of each of the cash flows. So I can very well find out. So this divided by 1 plus R to the power n. So the present values in case of project A are going to be this much. Similarly, I can find the present values of the project B as well. This divided by future value FB divided by 1 plus R to the power n. So these are the cash flows, the present value of the cash flows in each of these cases. So in this case only there is an outflow only in the 0th year, which is the initial investment, but after that the cash flows are completely positive even for both project A as well as project B. So in this case, after that I am getting into the summation of sum of all present values. So if I am looking at the sum of all the present values, here I am seeing that this value is around 20.28, but if I am summing up all this, it's going to be 19.28. So in this case, the first one is having 20.28 as the net present value and the other one is having 19.98. So I have computed the NPVs. So this is the net because there are some positives, there are some negatives. So whatever has come out is the net present value. Now, if at all I have to use NPV for investment decision purpose, the rule is quite simple. NPV is positive, accept the project. NPV is negative, reject the project outright. So a project or investment accept or reject decision using the NPV rule is straightforward. If it is positive, accept it, otherwise you reject it. But the problem comes when in this case, let's say these two are having NPV or positive. Both the projects have an NPV positive. So I can very well accept both the projects. But if I have to go with both the projects, I require 200 million capital today. But let's say I don't have that much of capital with me. I am having a restriction of only 100 million. I have a capital budget restriction. I have a budget restriction of only 100 million, which means I have to choose between this and this. Only one project needs to be selected. Those kind of situations where